crypto, speed matters, but trust matters more. At Caleb and Brown, you're never on your own. We connect you with your own personal broker and a 24/7 team, ready to help you buy, sell, or swap over 250 digital assets with one flat, transparent fee. No spreads, no slippage, no hidden costs. Get the best market prices through deep, aggregated liquidity executed by our professional trading desk. Your funds are secured with institutional-grade cold storage for total peace of mind. Track every move in real time with our intuitive client portal, anywhere, anytime. Whether you're trading as an individual, trust, or business, we give you speed, security, and peace of mind. Thousands of clients in over 100 countries already trust Caleb and Brown. Visit calebandbrown.com and start your personalized crypto journey today.
And welcome to another episode of the Blockchain Brew Show. I'm popping in this afternoon to give, let me bring the music down a little bit. Popping in this afternoon to give an afternoon TA update. I'm going to try to spend just about, 20 minutes or so. It depends. If we got people in the chat asking for coins, then I'll run this a little longer. But I wanted to pop in and not go over news, not do anything, and just give a quick Friday afternoon technical analysis update and run the charts. Because as we get into these next 8 to 12 weeks, we're going to have to do a bit more of this sort of thing where, hey, the charts are moving so fast, we almost don't have time to do anything else. And we almost need to keep up with it more regularly than just the evening shows. So I can't say that I'll be doing this every evening. It's gonna have to be one or the other. I'm either putting together a video upload, because to grow on YouTube, we gotta be uploading standalone videos and not just going live. So I'm pretty much every weekday I'm gonna be doing one or the other. Working on a video upload. Like yesterday, I put out a Cardano update, or I'm going to be going live with a sort of impromptu afternoon TA update. So without further ado, well, I guess I'll pop my beer first. Guys, it is Friday, even though it's only 2:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is Friday, so I'm going to pop a beer. I'm going to pop something light, though, because I do happen to be going to a thing later. But so I'm gonna start light. It's crazy that I think 6.2% is light, but it is what it is. And this is a hazy single IPA. You know, I usually drink doubles or triples, but we've got a hazy, just a hazy IPA, not double, not triple, just a hazy IPA from Backcountry Brewing Company. A friend picked this up from Canada for me, so shout out. And yeah, it's coming in at 6.2%. ASMR pop. Here's the pour, as opposed to the rich. Guys, over the next 8 to 12 weeks, we're all going to be rich. And then after that, we're all going to be poor again. No, not us here on the Brew Crew. We're going to take them profits, right? Anyways. Without further ado, let me share my screen and we'll jump into some charts. Welcome in Duality. Welcome in anyone else that's here. I've got a poll in the chat. Weekly close above $120,000, yes or no? If that were to happen, it would be the highest weekly close in Bitcoin's history. Even if it were to close just above like $119,200, I believe, it would be the highest weekly close in Bitcoin's history. So without further ado, I know I've said that 4 times. I'll share my screen and we will jump in to some charting. Pop that up on the screen for you guys. And let's kick it off with Bitcoin today. So Bitcoin on the weekly, I'm going to go ahead and draw this horizontal line right here. That's where we want to get a weekly close above. That's at $119,454. And that would constitute the highest weekly close in Bitcoin's history. I would prefer that we don't close below that, because if we closed below that, it would represent that, at least in the short term, that we attempted to rally up and break above a very important level that historically the bulls have never been able to close. You know, it's like closing the deal. You know, a guy talks to a girl at a bar or whatever. Maybe he's likable, but he's not a good closer. You know what I mean? Amelia, I only have 15% battery on my phone. I hope I make it through this. Let's go. I'm going to try to make it to where you do make it through this, because I'm going to try to keep it short, unless we get a bunch of people asking for coins. So, yeah, you know, it's like a guy at the bar. He's likable, but he's not a good closer. He can't close the deal. It's like a telemarketer that, you know, gives you a lot of good information about the product, but can't close the deal, you know? Anyways, I think you get the point. So that's what that level here constitutes on the weekly chart. I really want to see a close above that level. Now, on the RSI, we have this W-shaped pattern forming on the RSI. That was a really ugly drawing. Okay. I'm going to try my hand at that again. Let's see here. We have this W-shaped pattern forming on the RSI. And we do see, if you were to zoom in really closely, the purple line has crossed above the yellow line there. So that's a bullish signal. The stochastic RSI on the weekly has completely reset, and its move back up is only, you know, bringing it back to about 38. So the stochastic RSI is still below neutral. It's still low. And the weekly MACD, call it by its government name, the moving average convergence divergence, despite the fact that we have been pumping, we have yet to make a bullish cross on the weekly MACD. Okay, so I want to put this in perspective in a few different ways here. First, the RSI. Look at the last time that the RSI was, green here on the weekly, above the dotted line and in deep green, signaling that it's overbought. Well, I mean, if we go from like the first peak into the green, this constitutes a 152% pump that lasted for about 20 weeks. Now, the first part of this pump, before it went sideways for a while, the first part of this pump before a cool off lasted for 6 weeks. Okay, so you had 6 weeks followed by about, let's say another 6 weeks of sideways action, followed by maybe another 4 weeks or so of 4 or 5 weeks of pump. So if you bear with me here, I'm going somewhere with this. Let's go back and look at when we peaked into the green back here. If we look at this whole chart going back to like 2020, we really have like only 2 significant peaks into the green. I mean, we have one right here back in Q4 of last year. Okay, so I will take that into consideration as well, even though it didn't get deep in the green. Either way, it got above that dotted line. We saw the green start to come in, and this constituted a I'm going to draw that again. This constituted about an 8-week run for a 50% gain. Now, it's very possible that this is the sort of run that we see coming up. So a 50% move for Bitcoin from here would be a $60,000 move. I mean, it's nothing to shake a stick at. And this happened over about 8 weeks. Now, if you look at my Cardano update video from yesterday, you'll see that I'm thinking, hey, John, welcome in. You'll see that I'm thinking about that, Cardano will likely break above, $3.22 or so within the next 8 weeks. So, we'll just have to see. Now, Bitcoin can run for 8 weeks, move sideways, and altcoins can still run for another 4 weeks after that. And obviously, we've said it a lot, that this cycle can pump into next year. Right now, I'm just focused on Q4 as I'm charting. I'm just focused on what's in front of us and what can we kind of get a grasp on for the time being. So if we go back to this peak into the green back here on the RSI, then that was like, that's insane though. This is like a 409% gain on about 20 weeks. So that's the outlier here for sure. And what's really interesting is that the last half of the 2021 bull run, the RSI didn't even get back into the green, which is why it was a macro bearish divergence. You can see it as clear as day looking back at it that we had this macro bearish divergence right there. I mean, it was absolutely massive. And I remember the day that I saw Carl from the Moon Show point out this bearish divergence, and this is my first year in crypto. I was still learning. I saw him point that out, and I was, man, I knew in that moment that I should have sold, but I didn't. I was still on the hype train of everyone that I was listening to on crypto YouTube. So it happens. Let's see here. Now, so the moral of the story right now is, you know, after peeking into the green, guys, we haven't even peeked into the green yet. You know, after peeking into the green, we can very easily get, you know, about an 8-week run. Now, I want to compare that with something else over here on the fear and greed index. This is my blue line. Man, last Saturday was an epic call, by the way, when I went live on Saturday afternoon last week, and I showed you guys that we had a hidden bullish divergence, yes, on the RSI, but also if you use the fear and greed index like the RSI as an indicator, we had a hidden bullish divergence on the fear and greed index against the candlestick chart. So, you know, I showed you that last Saturday, and look at where the bounce was. That was my call right there. And if you go back to the stream, I said that I really think that I'm onto something right here with this. And on the stream, I said that I've never thought about using the fear and greed index in this way. Normally, we just look at it and we're like, oh, fear's high, or, you know, there's a lot of fear. You know, fear is below 30, greed is above 70. You know, so buy the fear, sell the greed. You know, but it kind of clicked as I was looking at this line chart. I was like, this is like using RSI divergence. It tells you the same thing. What is hidden bullish divergence on the RSI tells you? It tells you that as relative strength, which it really means sentiment, was leaving the market, the price maintained a higher low. It's telling you that the momentum downward on the indicator was not enough to send the price to a lower low. So if you use the fear and greed index to draw a divergence, what does it tell you? It tells you that as fear is entering into the market, as fear is saturating the market, it wasn't enough to create a lower low on price. So the question became, and this is what I said last Saturday, the question became, how much fear is it gonna take? What else has to happen, you know, to drop this price? So what I want to look at right here, guys, we're going to start seeing a lot because, you know, fear is up to 63 right now. I'm not sure what it says on Coin Market Cap. It could say something different. It could be higher. This is the CoinGlass Fear and Greed Index line chart. It's at 62, which is still somewhat neutral. But when we get into the 70s, you're going to start hearing people saying, hey, we're back to fear. I mean, we're back to greed. We're back to greed. We barely got over $120,000 and we're back to greed. Well, then you need to ask yourself, how long can greed stay in the market before the greed has to get dumped on, right? And if you go to the line chart and you ask yourself, how long can greed stay above 70? Let's even say above 75. Well, that's 80. Let's say 75. Well, what you're going to find is that for quite some time, you know, it has not. But if you go back to Q4 of last year, again, which is our comparison here, we see this whole block of time right here that greed can stay elevated in the market. Guys, in a powerful bull move, you can see a lot of greed remain in the market for a period of weeks. I mean, let me expand this to the weekly. And, it's this period back here. So this was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks, with some pretty elevated greed. I mean, if you follow it back here, man, this block of time, really significant. This is in the last bull run. And what we saw here was greed peaking up into the 90s. And even still, we had, with greed ranging from 75 to 95, we were still able to see, I mean, man, that's like 20 weeks. So, I'm just telling you, like, there's going to be bears out there. Tell the audience about the McRib technical analysis. All right, I got you. What the point here is that as we go on, you're going to see a lot of bears coming on X and elsewhere saying there's too much greed in the market. The fear and greed index is too high. Like, guys, you have to take everything into consideration. And by the same, by the same token, no pun intended, you're going to see bulls saying the same thing that I just said right here. Well, hey, the greed can stay high for 20 weeks, right? But we have to take more than just one piece of data into the equation. We have to get confluence. We have to. If you were going to go off of the fear and greed alone, then the only way to do that, and this is a very strong way to do it, you're going to win doing this, but the only way that you can really go based off of just something like fear and greed is if you say, I'm not going to fully enter or exit positions, right? As much FOMO as I feel right now, I'm not going to fully enter a position. Why? Because, well, if we go back over here to Bitcoin on TradingView, we can see that on the 4-hour chart, we can see that RSI is overbought. We can see that price is away from the 21 moving average. The 21 MA is still down here at 118. It has to cool off. It's broken a very important line of resistance. But even if it came back to here, guys, that's a powerful cool off. So the key, guys, you can enter into some low leveraged long positions, 2 to 3x, and absolutely kill the next 8 to 12 weeks. And you can crush this market and feel like a genius. But the way to do it is to not fully enter or fully exit positions, right? So if you take 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 grand, right, and you're gonna put it into an ADA long at I started scaling into mine at around 80 cents on CoinM futures over on BidFi. Link in the description to BidFi. And actually, while I'm saying that, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. And for those of you who don't know or who may be watching this later, guys, if you sign up for BYDFi with our link in the description, you can get a $1,000 USDT bonus just for depositing greater than $5,000 worth of assets. You do not have to meet a minimum trading volume. You simply deposit the assets, and then you can trade with just your bonus if you want. You get a $60 bonus on a $100 deposit, $100 bonus on a $500 deposit, and a $200 bonus on a $1,000 deposit. Doing any of these amounts gives you access to our VIP trading signals on Discord, where you get access to swing signals, market analysis, and scalp signals. And the bot aggregates the trading data and behavior from top ROI traders on the platform, and then it pumps them out as signals. While we're on Discord, Muffhead was saying, tell him about the McRib, and he posted that in Discord earlier. Guys, this is the GOAT of any chart that I've seen out there right now. He said the McRib is back. Bitcoin historically goes up greater than 2x after the McRib returns. Don't fade the McRib, not financial advice. So you can see the McRib returned right here, and number go up. McRib returned right here, number go up. McRib returned right here, number go up. Right now, McDonald's just reintroduced the McRib. So there you go. Hey, what's up, Rometta? What's up, Mr. Ethereum? Welcome in, guys. Don't fully enter, don't fully exit, giving the market the old half price. You can still make a baby that way, FYI. That's exactly the point, though. You can still get her done. And look, guys, you can crush the market that way over the next 8 to 12 weeks and leave feeling like a genius. Like I just pointed out, we've got overextended RSI on the 4-hour. And so if you're feeling that FOMO right now, if you've got $5,000 to enter a position with, to enter a long position, right now, Bitcoin is on it's overextended. The RSI is overextended on the 4-hour. It's got to cool off. We know that, but we still feel FOMO. So what am I suggesting that you do? Not financial advice. What am I suggesting that you do when you feel that FOMO? Take $200, $300, $400 of that 5,000 and scale it into the position. You see something on X later that just really gets your FOMO going again. Okay, scale another $300 into the position. Then tomorrow, when you see that, you were able to pacify your FOMO while getting exposure, because let's be honest, it's not just about FOMO, it's about you want exposure to the pump. So get a little bit of exposure, and then tomorrow, when we see a cool off, or whenever we see a cool off, then instead of 300, scale in 800, right? And just keep doing that. When the RSI is extended, when it's overbought on a lower time frame, try to scale in less. When the RSI is cooled off on a lower time frame, try to scale in more. And then just simply do the opposite of that as you scale out. And guys, that's how you can enter into a low leverage long and scale in and scale out of it and crush the market over the next 8 to 12 weeks. So Bitcoin, 4-hour, like I said, it's overextended. Let me go to the daily because we didn't chart the daily. Guys, we have a break again. This green line right here. We've that green horizontal line of resistance constitutes the highest weekly close that Bitcoin has ever had. So I want to see us close above it. We have a poll in the chat for that. Let me see where it's at. Everyone's saying yes so far. I don't know who all voted, but everyone is saying yes, we will close above 120. I would love to see it because it would be the new highest weekly close in Bitcoin's history. Now, the other thing that I'm, guys, look at how little time Bitcoin has ever spent above this green line. I mean, if you include wicks, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You've got 16 candles in Bitcoin, daily candles in Bitcoin's history spent above this line. And I'm being very generous right there because I'm including all of these ones that are actually being rejected off of the line. So if I include ones that considerably got above the line, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And this one back here is actually like, yeah, it wicked, but the close of the candle was still a rejection off of this line. You can see that because we got the bearish engulfing candle that came afterward. The only strong candle that we've ever really got in the past above this green line was this one back here, but it immediately followed by a bearish engulfing candle that rejected below this green line. Right now, for the very first time, guys, for the very first time ever, guys, this is a harbinger of what's coming, I'm telling you. For the very first time ever, we have a strong close above this green line at $119,400, followed by another strong green candle that we do have an hour and we have a little less than 2 hours till the close, but this candle looks like it's obviously going to close above. So for the very first time, we have a close above and then a confirmation on the next candle. So this is telling me that that my vote is yes in the chat. Although it's telling me that it's going to close above this green line, not necessarily 120. This green line is at 19.5 basically. But I'm going to, take my chances and bet that yes, that also means the weekly is going to close above 120. And it also means that cool-offs that we get, I'm expecting any cool-offs we get to respect this green horizontal line of resistance. Now, don't go out there high leverage, just making sure that, making sure your stop or your liquidation are below this green line, because it can wick and get you, okay? But I'm just saying what I'm seeing right now, like the 21 is aggressively moving up to the green line, and the green line is holding as support right here. So I go down to the 1 hour chart. We're already seeing a cool off on RSI on the 1 hour. So that's good to see. And as it's cooling off, it's flagging out above the 21 hour moving average. So, I think that we wait to, once this 21 gets closer to price, then we're probably due for another good little pump. Guys, we're entering into a time where it's not crazy to think that we're going to see, $1,000 to $2,000 moves on Bitcoin almost every day for the next 60 days. Guys, we could really be in that moment of time. So, it says you should see the 15-minute. Let's see here. 15-minute, yeah, 21 is curving over on the 15-minute. I'm sure that's what you're talking about. And yeah, I see that concern, but RSI is bouncing back up. Stochastic RSI is bouncing back up underneath the dotted line. Stochastic is, pretty much fully reset, and the MACD is curving up. Again, and volume is thin here. Like we can cool off all the way back down to the point of control, really. at $120,100, and all it means is that it was a really great cool off. Nothing to write home about, in my opinion. We're not in the territory yet. In my opinion, we're not in the territory where the 15-minute, where, some 15-minute bearishness is going to drop us, like, let's say, below this 200 moving average at 119.9. Because the stochastics, they've done their thing. They've bottomed out, and actually, as they are, you're getting this sort of these series of higher lows as the stochastic RSI is bottoming out. And yeah, not too bearish on that. I think it means that we're probably not gonna, like, are we bullish? Is alt season finally coming? Yes, John. Oh, the triangle? Let's see. Yes, John, alt season is here. If you look at my Cardano video yesterday, and I'm just using Cardano as an example of, like, let's say top 25 alts, I think that we're going to see a real concerted effort at a breakout above $3 in the next 8 weeks. So if that tells you anything about what I'm thinking. Okay, I mean, you could see that as a... see that as a bull pennant, symmetrical triangle with a flagpole that brings you to a new all-time high, $124,900. So yeah, I mean, that could happen. That could happen tonight, going into tomorrow. I mean, the 21 is curving over. That can change very quickly, though. And after all, stochastic RSI is bottomed out. So yeah, that's a good call. Is that what you're getting at, Real Meta? No, I was never an Ethereum miner, but I'm a very early Ethereum investor. Good stuff. Mr. Ethereum, the real question is, what do you think about ETH above $15,000 by Valentine's Day? If you know, you know. Let's see here. Okay, so this is for John. I'm gonna use Cardano as an example of this, because I just got done charting this in yesterday's video. So you come over here to ADA and you see this long-term bullish pennant symmetrical triangle. This has been going on for a year. Guys, this pattern has been forming for a year, which means it's going to be a very powerful, reliable breakout pattern. And the length of the flagpole brings you up to $3.22. But the real power of this move is the fact that if you look at the flagpole itself, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. 5 weeks to make that move. I mean, if we do it by percentage, which is not the way you're supposed to do a measured move, but still. If you do it by percentage, then that 260% measured move from right here, I guess it comes out to exactly the same thing. Yeah. So, you know, guys, that's 5 weeks, guys. 5 weeks. It can very much happen, and that's the way that Cardano, that the ADA price, you know, behaves historically. Is that, you know, when it rips, it rips. So, I mean, even when it made this rip right here, over the course of, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, it was really just the beginning of a longer term move. Flagged out right here, flagged out back here, flagged out right here, and so you had a series of, like, that was just one candle, but then you had a good 1, 2, 3 weeks before the next flag, another 1, 2, 3 weeks before the next flag, and then you had again a good, you know, 1, 2, 3 weeks before you sort of entered into a falling wedge like pattern, and then topped it out with another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before the high, before the cycle top. So, guys, what I'm suggesting is that we can get an 8-week rally to about $3.22, and it could actually be just part and parcel to a larger 12, 15, 16-week pump into quarter one, where we have some flags and some consolidation in between several of those moves. But I do think, like I said, you know, and I can very well be wrong, but we've all got to take risks, and we've all got to be honest about what we think, right? So, you know, what I'm saying is that in the next 8 weeks, I think we can get back to like $3.20, which would be a break of the all-time high. What's your end price prediction for ADA right now? Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Ethereum. It's just that the Valentine's Day was an old BitBoy joke. Back in 2021, he was saying $1,500 ETH by Valentine's Day. So, yeah, anyways, my end price prediction for ADA, it's really tough to call, because I want to see what happens, you know, after we break $3. But look, I do think $3 is a minimum. You know, a barely breaking the all-time high, I think that's the bear case. The reason why is that I think that I really think that ADA, if we had zero good news come out, oh, it'll live forever. Yeah. If we had zero bullish news, nothing happening, then I think ADA gets back to $3, right? Like, guys, Cardano cracked $3 in September of 2021 with 0 smart contracts live. Guys, with 0 dApps, with nothing built on it. It was a token that you could stake. Now, liquid staking was, you know, revolutionizing. Don't get me wrong. But man, in terms of building dApps, like, there was nothing. Smart contracts went live with the Alonzo hard fork in 2021. And with 0 smart contracts, ADA cracked $3. Now look at everything it has, and we don't think it can crack through. Like, that's what I'm saying. If there was 0 bullish news, Cardano gets back to $3. But we're not in a place where there's no bullish news, right? We have talks of a tier 1 stablecoin coming. And if you look at the footage from token 2049, you had the 3 founding entities of Cardano. Cardano has 3 arms, right? It's IO, Input Output Global, which is Hoskinson. It has Emergo and the Cardano Foundation. And all 3 entities met with more than one, if you listen to the footage, more than one top-tier stablecoin. So, guys, USDT, USDC, USD1, like, there's real USD. I don't even care which one, as long as a lot of it comes in, like liquidity. So, but guys, the real possibility is there could be 2. When you listen to the footage, it said a couple of them are coming on soon. So, not only that, the midnight claim period to claim your midnight tokens is ending in a matter of weeks. And midnight is going to be launching right in the middle of this run. Guys, midnight is the first verifiable way in the history of blockchain where blockchain will meet enterprise with real under the hood solutions for business model. Guys, there is no other token model like midnight. Everything out there in crypto, you do everything with the same token, right? The base token is your, let's say you're on Ethereum, right? You use ETH for everything. You use it for governance, you use it for gas, you use it for transactions, you use it for payments, you use it for everything. It's okay, LT. But, this is why, especially if we, for those of us in the Cardano community, this is why it pays to align ourselves with the philosophy of crypto and not just number go up. So plus staking is very easy on Cardano. You do it on chain, you do it liquid, you get your 3% a year. Like, can't beat it. You can't beat it for the ease and safety and security, the token model. Guys, if you're on ETH or just basically anything, guys, you use that one token for everything. With midnight, guys, you don't spend your midnight. You don't spend your night tokens. They're made to hodl. They're made to hold. Your night tokens, they emit dust tokens that automatically decay and regenerate. And because the dust tokens automatically decay and regenerate, that's what allows privacy. Because you're spending with a token that decays and regenerates. Therefore, it can't be tracked. It can be tracked, but you have selective disclosure. You can select what you want to disclose. And so at Google, look, the chief engineering officer of Google said this to Charles Hoskinson at Token 2049 in an exclusive interview. And he said that Google Cloud is going to be running a midnight validation node. Google Cloud is going to be a midnight validator. They're going to be earning and holding night tokens for doing so. And the reason why they're doing it, he said this out of his own mouth, the reason why they're doing it is because at Google, if they're going to be leveraging, Web3 technology to Web2 enterprise, and Web2 companies are going to be coming to Google Cloud for these solutions. Well, these Web2 companies, they need selective disclosure. They don't need their payroll being visible to everybody on the blockchain, guys. If you were an executive at a company and you don't want someone from this other department knowing how much you get paid, knowing what your salary is, guys, if you were paid on blockchain, everybody can see that. With Midnight selective disclosure, you only disclose what you want to disclose, even if that is just simply proof of payment. Now, all of a sudden, we have a tool that makes sense for Web2 enterprise to run a business on. Why is Midnight also allow people to run a business on blockchain the right way? Guys, if you try to run an on-chain business, guys, the dilemma that you have is that when you're doing all of your spending in Ethereum, when you're doing all of your spending in ETH or whatever token, Solana, ADA, whatever, when your business expenditures are being done in a token that moves up and down, you can't effectively. What about businesses that have seasonality? What do I mean by seasonality? You sell ice cream. You have an ice cream truck. And business goes down in the winter and it goes up in the summer. And you sell more products in the summer. Guys, you add seasonality into the mix with a volatile asset that moves up and down, and you don't know how much damn ETH you need on hand to run the business. Right? With Midnight, all you need to know is how much dust you need. That's all you need to know. How much dust do I need to run the business? Then I know how much Midnight I need to acquire to generate that amount of dust. I simply hold the Midnight. I do not spend it. I simply hold it. I simply buy it and hold it. And I spend my dust. Guys, it is an absolutely genius model that exists nowhere else in crypto. And this is the exact reason why Midnight is the most advanced blockchain ever built in the history of mankind. Followed closely by Cardano and Algorand, and maybe HBAR. Like, guys, this is... Google is a council member on Hedera. Yeah, good stuff. But Google Cloud is a Midnight validator. Like, this is epic. So I went so much over my time that I'm going to have to retitle the video, but that's okay. I'm going to get just a little more charting done, because that's what I was originally here to do, not yell at you about Midnight. But ADA on the daily chart, we're reclaiming the 21 period moving average. We're back into some important ranges, and things are curving up. Bullish cross on the MACD. We're going to be making a run at this upper descending line of resistance. Maybe we reject off of it one more time, back to the point of control. We make a higher low, and then we finally break. Something like that. Something to that effect. Ethereum. Did someone else ask for a coin? We have John 316 in here. I'll look at Crow. Okay. Ethereum. Very similar position as Cardano. Anyway, it's about a day ahead of Cardano with this bullish MACD cross on the daily below the signal line. Very powerful indicator. And, Ethereum on the daily could be doing this. forming a right shoulder of an inverse head and shoulders. You guys are like, this guy sees an inverse head and shoulder everywhere. And in the bear market, I'm telling you, it's going to be, this guy sees a head and shoulders everywhere. I don't think that, I don't know if we get a traditional bear market, but I definitely think we get like our, we get a good 50% dip next year at some point. So I'm going to see a few head and shoulders in there, I guarantee you. This would be like a let me actually use a trend line. This would be like a slanted neckline, which is actually the most powerful kind of neckline to break. Yeah, that's going to push you up towards $6,000. So we could be building out this right shoulder. Other than that, we've got this macro higher low. So Ethereum 4-hour. 4-hour 21 crossing the 200. RSI is overbought. It's one of those things where I think we've got a flag. RSI definitely has to cool off, although it is doing that as we speak. But maybe this 21 gets closer to price action and then we take off again. But it's looking very bullish. I mean, 4-hour chart, you've got a very strong uptrend of higher lows, and higher highs. And if you look at the way that this moves, let me just erase all of my drawings. If you look at the way this has been moving on the 4-hour, like each pump is broken up by a flag of some sort. This one is more of a falling wedge, flag, flag, flag. So yeah, guys, looks bullish. Last thing, look at Crow, and then I'll hop off. And Crow on the 4-hour actually has the thing that I like about this is stochastic is lower. We haven't broke above the 200 yet. The 21 is pushing up toward it, which means you have I would see this as a conditional range right here between the EMA levels, or between the MA levels at between 20 cents and 23 cents. We break 23 cents, we go to 0.26. So on the daily, we just got this bullish MACD cross below the signal line. And I mean, look at that downtrend that happened. I mean, we really we just broke that downtrend though on the daily. We broke that downtrend, then wicked off of horizontal support, and that tells me that it keeps running. But Crow is early in its correction here, and we usually use the word correction as a downside indicator, but I just mean a correction against the trend. And so right here, this is we had a short-term correction against the longer-term trend, which is an uptrend. Right now, we have a let me just call it a reversal, okay? So I don't have to play dictionary thesaurus with everyone. We had a long downtrend ever since that pump that we got off of the Trump family news, the True Social news, right? We had that pump, and then we've been in this correction ever since. Crow is very early in its reversal compared to other coins because we just got this break above the downtrend, and RSI is neutral. So man, if there's Crow looks like a very good coin to enter into a low leverage long. So, and again, you can do that over on BYDFi, and scale into a 2 to 3x long position on Crow, and see what happens. So there you go. That's about all I got today. I think that T Square will be here for the evening show. If something happens with that, we'll update you in the Discord. But thanks for tuning in. Smash the like button. If someone's watching later, subscribe to the channel. Join the Brew Crew, the most hydrated crypto community on YouTube. Cheers.